So here we are, me and Diego. Diego is starting a new startup, and he had a couple of really great questions. He's like, yeah, we're going to be all remote. Investors are going to be skeptical. How do we address that? And just show results is the best thing. And I also shared a couple of presentations, and we talked about using a wiki versus a static site. And static site is much harder, but the advantage is you can link to what changed. And we talked about like when do you have to like start making a handbook. And
right.
I think what in the beginning it's going to be super organic. And if it's organic, it doesn't matter that much if you write it down or not. Don't slow the startup down. But if you see someone giving like a presentation, like making a presentation or writing a Google Doc about a process or sending emails about a process change, then you know like it's better to do it as a static site. So like handbook first.
Right.
If we write it, then it's gonna be show me the link to the handbook.
Yeah.
And also who to give control, and I like first initial 7 people give everyone the ability to merge into master. At a certain point, for like if we're 250 people, like send it to everyone can make a proposal, but you have to send your manager will merge it in after a review. And then
And then I ask you at the beginning, especially, how do you balance starting to write some policies, like a travel policy, expenditure policy, or communication policy, versus letting that emerge based on responsibility and freedom of the team, or however they want to do it.
So, what I would do, and I hope that's our current policy, is like spend money like you would spend your own, like do it in the interest of the company.
Right.
And then people want a bit of guidance, like, okay, what kind of computer can I order? So we have like, hey, if you're a developer, you probably want a pretty spec'd out MacBook, but if you're in sales, you can probably do a MacBook Air or something lighter, so it's easier to travel with.
Right.
So give guidance, let people make their own decisions, and then review what they bought. They don't need permission up front, but if you find someone like purchasing stuff that doesn't make sense, they're spending the money of the company unwisely, you should have a conversation.
Right.
And that's just how you spend the company money, is just part of your performance.
Right. Okay, there is the next question for you. How early do you start a formal process of review, performance review, or feedback, one-on-ones, these kind of things?
As soon as you have employees. So I wouldn't do it with your co-founder, but as soon as you have employees, I think you owe them performance reviews. We settled on 4 performance reviews, like every quarter, and then 1 compensation review at the end of the year. And then compensation adjustments are made starting at the end of the year, and then they take effect January 1st.
Got you. And then how early do you formalize an induction process for new team members? You know, or like a process of like, you need to read this, you need to do this, that, versus more formal.
I think as soon as you introduce people, you just everything you share. Don't like sit down and write an introduction process for a day. Okay. But anything you share with someone, instead of sending out an email to them, just change it in the handbook and send them a link to the diff. Like, hey, look at this.
So in the handbook, there is a document that is called New Team Members.
Yeah, the onboarding. We're a bit nerdy, so we have an onboarding template, and it contains about 150 checkboxes of all the onboarding tasks.
Wow.
What I'm really proud of, it's not only the tasks that you have to perform, but also everything the company has to do for you. What your manager has to do, what finance has to do, what HR has to do. So you can see like you haven't gotten access to that system yet. It's not like a black box where you find out 3 months later someone didn't do their work and now you don't have access to something, which is something that always hits in other companies.
That's awesome.
Coffee's new?
Yeah, coffee's new. Let me see.
Coffee?
No thanks.
What do you guys use, and what do you use at the beginning for team coordination? Like Asana or?
Yeah, we use GitLab. Look, we have issue boards and things. Asana is also a great product, so that might be good to use. The nice thing about GitLab issues is that if they end up being a change to the website or change to the handbook, which frequently if you have to do something like it's going to end up somewhere,
Right.
then you can link that with that issue. And then when you do the change, the issue is automatically closed. So you can see not only like, you don't have this separate system, like I have to do this work, I do the work, and then I kind of say I did it. No, you can show that you did it, and it works automatically. So that will be the advantage of that.
Gotcha. What about communication, like Slack or?
We use Slack. I think it's great. You should definitely have it. If there's a longer conversation about something, like either spin it off in an issue so that people can work on it asynchronously, like people that aren't in that time zone can contribute, etc. And if you discovered that you're going into a back and forth with someone, like say, hey, shall we hop onto a video call, and you start like a Zoom call directly from the Slack.
Gotcha. How many do teams organize their own calls, and besides all hands, do you do an all hands meeting? What's the guidance of the main communications?
We like since we're all remote, we try to be super transparent.
Right.
And we do a couple of things. So every day we have a functional group update, we call it. We're going to call it group conversations soon, hopefully, where some department kind of presents, this is what happened in sales or in marketing or in this area of the product. And the presentation can be no longer than 10 minutes, and then 20 minutes is available for people to ask questions.
Gotcha.
And that's the intent of the thing, like, where people can ask their questions. So it's about the conversation, and that's going really well. And then after that ends, we have a team call, or company call, we call it now.
Okay.
It's 5 minutes of announcement, so people just put stuff in a Google Doc, what's going on, and they quickly verbalize it. And that kind of, it's a bit to draw people into attending the team call. And then we have a call in the beginning when the company was 15 people. We just talked about our life outside of work. We still do that, but now in smaller settings.
After the official meeting?
Yeah, after the official announcement, which shouldn't be more than 5 minutes.
Right.
Like, hey, this team member joined and this policy changed. Here's a link to the handbook and things like that.
Yeah.
You talk about life outside of work.
Gotcha.
And sometimes now we go into breakout groups, and there's even a subject to talk about. Like, if you could time travel, would you travel to the future or to the past? Like, super cool. And me and another guy were like, oh, we'll go into the future and we'll download the patent database and then travel back and make a lot of money. And then one of our other team members was like, I'm going to travel into the future 30 years. So I know how to train my child better and prepare my child better for the future. And that was much more beautiful than our very shallow reasons. So it's great to have these conversation starters. I think as the company's still smaller, and you just say, hey, this is talking about life outside of work, you can just say you go in a certain sequence. The only thing that's not allowed is that you say, oh, I didn't do anything interesting. You don't have to talk about something, but at least don't, like, the bar is very low. Like, the suggestions are talk about what you had for dinner yesterday. Like, it's all fair game.
Right. That's awesome, man.
And then I also do AMAs where people can just hop into a call. I do it with all the new team members, and those are recorded. And I also do it every last Friday of the month for the whole company.
Right.
And then to spice them up, I present for a few thoughts sometimes. Like, hey, this is stuff that's on top of my mind. Like, this department isn't going well. This is an interesting development in the market, and I'm super excited about this idea we have.
That is open for everyone.
For all the people at the company, and I think we also put them on YouTube.
Okay.
I think we're going to live stream them soon so that we can also receive questions from, we did that the last time, so receive questions from people on YouTube.
That's awesome. And now I have a specific question about product development. And again, especially at the beginning, how did you do product development, product management? I guess that you were the PM officially, and then you...
No, I didn't make GitLab, like my co-founder made it.
Okay.
And he just built what he needed for himself.
Right.
And the only very big lesson that we have a lot of lessons, and you can read them in the handbook, but the biggest lesson is iterate. Like, do the smallest possible step.
Right.
So you always have this plan about the future,
Right.
but just do the first step, even if it's like
Right.
painfully,
Right.
shamefully small.
Yeah.
Do that step really quickly and then do the next step.
Right.
Because by releasing it, having it out there in the world, you're going to get feedback and you're going to learn what the next most thing is.
Right.
And
right.
otherwise, you start making all these assumptions, and some of these assumptions might be wrong. And it's
Yeah.
if you have it out there, you have this sense of progress.
Yeah.
But it comes with, as Nat Friedman, the CEO of GitHub, said, a low level of shame.
Right.
But that iteration value is one of our top 3 values.
Right.
And it's the hardest one for people from outside the company to adopt. To like every time they make something too big, and we have to tell them, look, make something you can ship in a week.
Right.
And we learned it during YC.
Right. And do you do demos to, like, the development team had to do a demo of what is releasing, or just releasing?
Yeah, we have a release post. We used to have a lot of animated GIFs in it, but then that crashed the release post on many browsers.
Like a blog post?
Yeah, blog post.
Gotcha.
But every month on a fixed date, we release it. Now we have on-site software, so you probably don't have the same thing.
Right. Right.
But I think it's great to have like post a video to YouTube of a product of the people making it, quickly talking to it, and link
Okay.
that from the documentation. Like
Got you.
half of it is making it, half of it is getting the world excited about it.
Got you. But I mean, so that you know the progress of the product, do you get, or did you get at the beginning, like weekly demos, weekly stand-up meetings to see the progress?
No, because it's so small, they should just release it. So no seeing the progress, just release it.
Yeah,
like
right.
if you have something to demo, apparently you have something to release.
I see.
So there's no interim steps.
Okay. Okay. And what about product roadmap? Do you have a product roadmap?
We do have a product roadmap, and I always say like it's flexible. Like it's only fixed as when people start working on it. Like then we never change it.
Right.
But until that time, we kind of shuffle and make sure that we ship whatever is creating the most value. Whether it's fixing a security thing, or refactoring something, or shipping a feature for the customers want, or something that aligns with our vision. And then there's only one person in charge of that. So the product manager decides. Not the boss of the product manager, not the CEO, not a customer, not the sales team,
Right.
the product manager. And everyone can kind of lobby the project manager to do something else, but not in like one giant meeting. Like you care about something,
Right.
talk it to that product manager.
Right. So sales, you just mentioned, we'll probably have to also build a sales team, for the supply and the demand side. Any particular lesson learned on having a remote sales team? Sometimes sales are, building a product is writing code and it's very introspective. Sales is more like a team sport.
Yep. Few things like sales are remote too. Like your salespeople should probably be on the road talking with customers.
Right.
So every company has a remote sales team.
Right.
They just don't acknowledge it. So, and that's what they should do. One thing I've commonly seen is like people try to hire a sales leader too early. Like your first few salespeople should be individual contributors.
Right.
And then maybe you have a lead that's like half individual contributor and managing some salespeople. But don't start off with hiring the giant VP of sales.
Gotcha.
Make sure that that you have an idea about your pipeline. So everything in sales.
Memo. One. Yeah.
Everything in Salesforce, all opportunities tracked. Because otherwise, if there's turnover in your sales team, you suddenly don't know where you're at anymore.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I see a lot of people like not doing commissions and things like that. Like get over it. That's how it works.
Right.
Just
Don't
those.
try to reinvent the wheel on that particular thing.
You're trying to reinvent the wheel?
No, not try to reinvent the wheel
no.
on that particular thing.
Big sales leaders, 50-50 between base and commissions.
Right.
In the US, it's in our kind of sport is like 250
Right.
OTE, on target earnings.
Right. Cool.
Cool. Well, thanks, Diego. You want to name drop your new startup?
Pachama.
Pachama, what does it do?
Pachama.com, it's building the technology to accelerate the forest carbon credit market, in which those who are protecting or restoring a forest can certify those efforts as carbon credits because of the carbon they're capturing, and then sell it to organizations that need to offset their carbon emissions. So what we're doing is building the technology to make it trustworthy, transparent and efficient, using satellite images, machine learning algorithms, and smart contracts for the exchange, and hopefully in doing so making this market grow a lot. So if you have a forest where you need to offset your carbon emissions, go to Pachama.
He has a forest himself because he lives here out in the woods. It's beautiful here. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.